What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Imperfect. And I got an awesome guest for you guys today. We got a wrestler on the set, yo. Like, this is crazy. These are crazy
Very loose word.
times. Yes, Landon Erickson. How you be, bro?
So great, man. So good to see you.
I know it's
Oh,
been a fat minute,
oh
bro.
my gosh. I haven't seen you since I moved to Utah, which was right after I think I came back for Caleb's farewell. And
Oh
then like
yeah,
since then it's been like I have not been in Idaho all that much just because like not much to do there for me anymore.
right. Just down there, man. So yeah, like let's kind of jump into the beginning. We met at a theater,
Oh,
doing good old Footloose.
oh man, it haunts me till I die.
Haunts me till I do that shit was stressful. I
Oh my
drama
gosh.
is hard, bro.
Oh man. If you starting off real, gosh, you met me in my most toxic time in my life, man. I was I was not a happy camper, and I went out of my way to make life difficult for like everyone at the point. Like I just was not having it.
Dude, you have points like that in your life, man. But like you moved to Salt Lake, or what, you're in Salt Lake, right?
Saratoga. Oh
Saratoga.
yeah, Salt Lake. Well,
So
now everyone knows.
now everybody knows. But when you moved down there, that was shortly after Footloose, wasn't it? Like, I feel like it was a year or two. Like,
It was after Footloose. I did Aladdin, and
oh, that's right.
yeah, I did Aladdin, and then like within months after that, it was a weird. Sorry, do you mind if I just kind of go on a rant here of how I got
Yeah,
there?
go ahead. Go ahead.
So I was dating my friend Morgan at the time, who's still my friend, by the way. Um, and
Good.
I was basically trying to get out of Idaho because I had started um, doing some really crappy wrestling in a boxing ring in Golden Gloves gym, and they had like a mat and like a tarp and wood under it, and it was terrible. And we were trying to do wrestling on there with actually just a shout out. I was doing it with my friend Kaden, Cameron who's been on here, and Landon who's been on here. We were all doing that, and we were doing that, and I was like, I just want to try wrestling for real. And I got in contact with this Salt Lake guy who his name's Steve. He runs UCW Zero, who I'm a part of, and I went down there, started wrestling. And I'm like, I'm never doing in the boxing ring again because that hurts, and this is amazing. And so I've been like what's the word?
Communism?
Yeah, communism. I had been, stealing freedom to get down to Utah. Oh no, I was
Right.
commuting back and forth every weekend, which was, huge on my, bank account. And I had decided I wanted to move down there anyway. And I got an impromptu call from like a place I kind of threw a resume and just be like, whatever, I don't care. They're not going to
Right.
accept me. And they like, hey, can you start next week? And I'm like, yep.
Yo, that's
So I
awesome.
was working as like a vendor for a Walmart thing, like a third party vendor. And I called my boss, I'm like, okay, I'm leaving, bye. And like hung up, put the phone in an envelope, sent it back to the corporate office, and I would move down like that day.
That's crazy, dude.
So yeah, I moved literally out of just a huge impulse just to be like, nope, I'm gonna be a wrestler and I'm done here.
I'm done here. Dude, that's awesome. You just like did what you wanted to do, you jumped right into it.
Yeah, I've given my mom a lot more gray hairs than she deserves for that kind of like I have impulse made this major impulse controls.
Right, right. But
Um,
hey, that's dope. But so like you moving down there, that was crazy, but like how's it been? Like
oh man, it's been a roll. It's been oh, um, what's the right word? It's been the best years of my life. Getting down here, I threw myself into wrestling hardcore. Um, I think I'm coming up on my third year in wrestling now. Like in May, I'll be wrestling
dang.
for 3 years. And I threw myself into it. It's become a cornerstone of my life. It's made me so well-rounded. I fixed a lot of my issues. I've been very, very fortunate. I've wrestled big, legendary names, Shannon Moore, Cheeseburger from Ring of Honor. I know those names don't mean much like to who doesn't watch wrestling, but I've been very fortunate. I've met amazing names. I've met people from WWE, from Impact, from Ring of Honor, from all around the world. I've met wrestlers who do this for a living, and it's become like if 11-year-old Landon could see me now, he'd be crying.
It'd be crying.
Because like it's like just a crazy situation of just like, I'm not just gonna live what you want to do. I'm gonna exceed at it pretty decently.
Right, and that's
So,
dope. Like
oh,
how much training goes into wrestling? Like what?
oh.
How do you train?
So it's a lot like sports. What we do is right now, actually, it's on a hiatus. So like because of the corona, I can't do it. But the 9 to 5 of what it would be is we have trainings like 4 to 5 times a week. You kind of you have to be kind of encouraged, or you have to be there at least once a week. But I try to hit as many as I can. Basically, it's like you go in, you warm up, you do some rolls, and do what you call bumps, which is you throw yourself on the ground, to simulate, how you hit the ground when people hit you, kind of thing. Go through that, and then you go through drills of, calling it on the fly where you don't have anything planned. You go through stuff where you have spots planned where you go through different movements and different things to get into a move, practice your big moves. It's a lot of impact and a lot of sweat and soreness.
Dang, man. Yeah, that's kind of wild. But like, since you're down there, like, do you guys do shows or like, how does that all kind of play out?
Monthly. Right now, it's monthly. We have one show a month for UCW Zero, which they plug for my corporate overlords. UCW Zero on everything to get shows. We usually have it the first week of the month. We usually have a crowd of like ranges from like 200 or so. And yeah, that's that's what keeps you coming back is the shows, because like I've done theater, you've done theater, you get that feel of the audience cheering. Now imagine they're completely surrounded by the crowd, right? And you hit something and the whole crowd lights up around you, like that cheering, that applause, that feeling, that energy you feel completely submerged. That's all focused on you. It's like a solo combined everything. It's just that adrenaline and that feeling of that entire crowd just bought exactly what you did, and it is the biggest adrenaline rush / euphoria I've ever felt in my life.
Dude, that's awesome. That sounds so exotic. Like
Joe Exotic Tigers.
Joe, fucking Carol Baskin. Like,
Killer's husband. Whack.
Yeah. Did that whole thing, man. But dude, that's crazy. So monthly shows, like how much does it cost to get into something like that, to go see a wrestling show?
For us, UCW, it is 15 for normal seats, 20 VIP, which is the front row.
Oh, nice. Do you get blood on him or something? Sweat on him or something?
Oh man, if I could tell you how much I've bled in my life. Did I ever send you the video of my cage match?
I think you did, yeah.
It was just completely.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was completely. Oh man, that was a terrible night.
Dude, it sounds like it.
Well, it was. The match wasn't bad. It was painful and a little like groggy. But I remember I was not going to bleed that night. I had already said, nah, it doesn't need it. I'm not gonna. And then the guy who's in charge of the shows came to me and asked me as a favor to be like, will you bleed tonight? We need something in that. I'm like, okay, whatever. Because normally, not to, fill up business. Usually when you bleed a little bit and it just comes down your face and it just shows a little bit of stream. It's like, whatever. But I made a mistake and I gashed my head.
Oh no!
And it just went completely crazy. But I remember I had long hair at the time, and it was kind of disgusting because it just was dyed and bleached so mmany times.
Oh,
that like
no.
It just wasn't healthy, and I'm like, I don't want to cut it myself. I'm never gonna cut it myself, so I just need to do it. So I told the guy who I was wrestling, be like, just at the end, cut it off. You know what I mean?
Just cut it off, yeah.
It's fine. It'll show that fight. It'll get you that pops for, scalping a big bad guy. We'll just do that.
Right.
So I bled. I completely forgot they were cutting my hair by the end because I was so in the moment. And I remember, the bells rings. I'm laying down. The referee tossed me a towel so I can, clean up my face. And, I get blood on my face. I'm like, okay, the crowd's cheering. Everyone's on their feet. Great job. And he grabs me, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he puts me in a chair and grabs a knife, and I'm like,
oh my god.
Oh no. And so he gets this clump of just this bloody, this pure red, because it was blonde in it. So this pure, bloody mess of hair, and holds it up. The crowd cheers. I'm crawling to the back, and I'm like, what's my life?
What is my life? You have to rethink everything.
Oh man, it's one of those
Dude.
moments where you have that internal look back in yourself and you're like, what kind of sociopath does this?
Right, dude?
Oh
Dude,
no.
that's awesome though. Dude, the audience reaction just has to make it all, dude.
It's like it's like an explosion, like blow the roof off the place. It is. I can't put over how like it's more addicting than anything I've ever done in my life. With just that feeling of like the spotlight almost. It's just it's a weird thing, like because as in wrestling, there's terms of a face is a good guy, a heel is a bad guy, right?
Right.
You kind of base that. It's kind of dependent on where you go. People will tell you to do either, but like you feed off an energy of people. Like you know what I mean. Like in
Right.
life, you feed off energies, like, and that's what drives you. And I personally feed off booze and people hating me. Like that's what I get energy off of. I've been a good guy for the last couple months, and it's not the same energy to me. I feel like it's pity, like when I'm like, trying to pump up the crowd and hit a move, and I start hitting the ground, like, come on, get up, and like, yeah, like, don't you pity me, like, don't you berate me here, like, it
That's so
doesn't
epic.
feel sincere to me as when I'm a bad guy and I stomp on someone's hand, and people, everyone's had their hand stepped on before. It just happens, and everyone knows how that feels like. And so everyone's like, boo, you suck, I hate you. Like, I feel energy off that. Like, that's what gives me energy. I'm like, heck yeah, let's go. You know what I mean?
Dude, right? That's got to be so awesome, man.
It's the weirdest, craziest thing because, like, my mom hates it. My mom hates the fact that, like, I enjoy being a bad guy. She's like,
Oh, really?
I just feel like you're a nice kid and you should be doing something better, do something different. And I'm like, eh. Chance, that's, sorry, not to go on a kind of sub thing here I thought of.
Good.
In my gimmick, I'm known as Lee Nitrous. He's a deranged emo lunatic who just thrives in, just tormenting people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this came about from, I was trying to figure out a character when I was new, right? And I just kind of had the generic, you're a good guy, be good, don't have an opinion, eat white bread, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, and don't offend people. And I hated that because it's like the most cookie cutter, like, you're Superman, be Superman. Yep. And it's, ugh. But I remember I was talking to my mom and like, I was trying to figure out ideas and I was just pitching ideas to her one night and she goes, I'm like, what if I just did that thing I did in junior high where I just moped and wore makeup, like eyeliner? And she goes, oh, don't do that. I don't like that. And immediately my mom's like, I'm going to do that.
Yo.
So, I wore eyeliner. I started, doing the Jack Skellington smile. Added the lines like Sting or Crow, And when I first started doing it and really got into that kind of place, I had attacked a wrestler by the name of Bobby Jackson, who, by the way, is one of my closest friends in the world now. But it came from this real place because he's from Pocatello. And I remember I went down to a show or two when I was younger, and I hated him because it was literally a guy from my town doing what I loved and wished I could do.
Right.
And so I, attacked him. I sit down, I grab the microphone, and I had this, when like you're scared and you're angry and you have that feeling in your chest of like, like
just mixed emotions.
Yeah, and it's so much. And I grabbed the microphone and I was like, Bobby Jackson, who gives a shit about Bobby Jackson? And I just went real and just started saying exactly how I felt about that.
Dude, that's wild, yo.
And this crowd was booing. They didn't let me get a word in edgewise. Everyone was booing and screaming, and just like saying I was a terrible person. I just remember in that moment, I'm like, that kid I was scared to be growing up, like when you're a kid, you want to be this person, but you're so scared to be that person. I wasn't just that person. I was so much more in that moment. Right. Every insecurity, every like petty thing I was worried about leading in was gone. That was kind of the birth of Lee Nitrous for me. It became what I always wanted because it was free. I was so free of everything holding me down in that moment because the guy I idolized as a Pocatello guy being an amazing pro wrestler was laying down in front of me. I was in that driver's seat. I literally took my spot as the Pocatello wrestler, as the character.
Right.
And sorry, I'm getting shaky goosebumps now because I'm just like talking about this. I remember in that moment, it was just, I remember I went back and I didn't say anything. I just sat down and, caught my breath, adrenaline wore off. And my friend came back and looked at him and he goes, and that, I don't know, it was.
You played the character well,
Yeah, that character over time has become so real to me. It's just weird. Like, it's like an old friend so weirdly intimately that just like it's become more like there was a time for a while where sorry, this keeps going on like sub things. I'm so sorry.
Bro. Share the message. Let's hear it.
Like I had to like debate on myself what was real, me or him. Because impact wise, he was so much more real than me as a person. Landon was taking like a back seat for a hot minute because Lee Nitrous became such a real character and real kind of thing that like I took a back seat for a minute. Like I was having a hard time. Sorry, to draw background, I was being imperfect because
there it is.
I had this depression and this Napoleon complex in my head where no, I'm going to do better. I'm going to do amazing. I'm going to be a wrestler. And and it became this hatred of who I became because I had to go back to work on Monday. I want the desk job. I have to make calls, I have to do these things. And it became resentful on myself because I'm like, I do this and people don't just boo me. They hate me. They wish they come to see me lose, they come to see me get my comeuppance. And, it became this whole complex myself where I thought I was bigger than I was. And I have amazing friends here who I live with, who kind of, kept me in check. Bobby, again, the guy I wrestled, Bobby has been an amazing friend, and my friend Gabe, who is known as Echo on the independent wrestling circuit. And those guys have kept me really in check and kind of, kept me balanced. And like, hey, I know you feel invincible right now, but you need to, cut that shit out. And like, it's kept me kind of on my own path because like the hatred I felt when I was doing like theater towards the end was horribly toxic. I argued and clashed with directors. If they just sassed me, I'd be like, cool, I'm gonna make this hard then. Like on Footloose, man, I called in sick for like 3 or 4 performances and I felt fine. I just didn't want to do anything for them. I just didn't care. I didn't care. I was on this path of just screw off. Who are you? And just I feel so bad looking back because like I wished I had given my all in the performance, but like I didn't care. You know what I mean? I half-assed things. I kind of was like, I'm not dancing because I'm a bully. I'm not singing that much. Who cares? And it became this whole path of self-destruction until I found wrestling.
That's good, bro. Like that's really good. Like sometimes I feel like you just kind of. I've had moments and been through things that are so negative and feel like the world's against you that you just kind of like it's like you give up but you're still alive. You're just kind of like a walking time bomb. Like you're just like
lights are on but no one's home.
Yeah, dude, for real. That's exactly.
Man, I feel that on a religious level. I feel that because like there have been times where like I'm doing everything I should, but I'm just angry and waiting for someone to do something. So I have a reason to lash out at that point. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Give me a reason. Give me a reason. And I'm just, ugh.
Yeah, dude, so, that anger, man.
The older I get, the more I'm like my dad in that way. I chilled out so much. I was such an extrovert when I was younger. I wanted to talk and go out. And now I'm just like, I don't want to go outside.
Dude,
man, there are people out there. I have to feel their energy and talk to people. I don't want to do that.
Right.
So like,
it's weird. It's weird growing up from especially like a theater thing, because it's like you have, especially as you said, you get older, but you have this kind of character development that you've had throughout years. But I feel like I'm in this weird spot where I'm extrovert, introvert. I love being inside. I love being home. I love playing video games, doing my homework, editing stuff. And sometimes it's hard to go out and like be mingling at like, when I shoot a wedding or whatever it may be. But at the same time, like it's like with certain friends, you love to go out and be like your little extrovert self, But it's just this weird, like
your inner circle gets smaller and smaller the older you get, man.
Yeah,
There's
that's
like
so
3 or 4
true.
people I love to hang out with and love to go out with, but like honestly, canceling plans is the most relief you'll ever feel in your
Oh,
life. You're like,
dude, I know.
oh, I don't have to do anything.
I
That's
know.
awesome.
It's so true though. You're like, oh no, I'm dying. I can't go out. I'm
Oh
sorry.
man, I mean, I'm sick. I can't go out and do karaoke because I'm drinking at home.
Because I'm drinking out. There you go, bro. That's
Oh
so litty, dude. But that's crazy, man. To kind of, I feel like that's relatable to the Joker with Heath Ledger. I mean, it's just like sometimes, especially as actors or wrestlers or things like that, you build characters that you just become, and you kind of struggle
they
with.
yeah, they take up their
Like,
own lives, man. They start taking up real like real estate in your life, and like
mm-hmm,
it became hard for me personally because like people knew me more as Lee than Landon. Like if I go
right,
out of town to another promotion, I'm like, they're like, Lee, we need Lee over here, and I'm like, oh okay, yeah, that's me. And like, so people don't know Landon so much as they know Lee, and
right,
that's been the biggest struggle for wrestling for me. And like being a person is like, oh, sometimes it's hard to like Landon when it's really easy to like Lee Nitrous. You know what I mean?
right,
Because it's like it's real easy to be a character and have people cheer or boo and just be like, you know exactly how they feel about you. There's no
right,
mystery. There's no question. You know how everyone feels about Lee Nitrous. I don't know if people like Landon all the time. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know how
right.
people feel about you. No one's open. Like, if I
Yeah.
go up to you in, like, a grocery market and I'm like, oh, hey, man, how you doing? It's been so long. They're not going to go, boo, boo, Landon, boo. Like,
Right.
but,
Yeah.
like, if I come out and come out as Lee Nitrous, the music hits, the lights turn on. You know the second you come out what they feel about you. Either it's
Right.
a, yeah, come on, let's go, or it's a, boo, go back to Hot Topic, you suck. And like, I know exactly how I'm supposed to feel, but like, as Landon, sometimes, people are people. Not everyone's, best interest isn't going to be everyone else's best interest for you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you have to learn to draw that line, and it's difficult sometimes because, like, I want to be Lee
Dude.
Nitrous all the time. I do. I want to be a wrestler all the time, but like,
Right.
it's not feasible. I
Right.
gotta be Landon, and that's the hardest
Gotta
part
be.
sometimes. I gotta be Landon. I gotta be the real me, and I gotta be the self-conscious, grown up who has taxes and rent and has a job where I have to be politically
Right.
correct all day.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
Yeah, dude, it's like you could relate it just to being to like any celebrity. Like any celebrity has an image they have
mm-hmm.
to keep up, like they probably are so different when they're, them in their home compared to out there, like a lot of rappers, they flex money, they flex girls, they flex X, they flex Y, but how do they act at home? Like I think about that all the time. Yeah, they're posting a picture every day that takes 5 minutes, but what are they doing in the other like 15 hours of the day? Like they're probably playing video games or whatever the hell else people
Exactly.
do.
It's wrestling has a term. Wrestling is a hollow tradition, right? It's very handshake traditional. Like we have these steps in check you have to do, right? It's very a
Right.
traditional aspect behind the scenes. And there's a thing called kayfabe, and that's the imaginary world of wrestling. It's the world where you forget that it's a pretend a show of guys fighting each other in their underwear. It's
Right.
this world of this guy's a bad guy and this guy's a good guy, and good guys don't talk to bad guys because they don't like each other. It's like back
Right.
in the day, like it's kind of different now because the internet's a thing, so it's kind of revealed a lot of secrets for the wrestling world. But back in the day, if you were caught like as a bad guy hanging out with a good guy, you were fired. That was the end of your
Damn.
job there at that company because you just broke that world. You broke the illusion,
Mhm.
right? So like
Right.
it's harder now because of the internet. Like, because say I'm in Washington, I'm a good guy, and people love me in Washington because I have the alternative look. You know what I mean? Like that's more
Right.
open there. But in Utah, well, until recently, I was a bad guy. And people hated me. So with social media, how do I pander to that?
Right.
How do I be that character, keep that pretend world open when I have social media? Because that's very difficult. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But like the pretend world, like it's the hollow tradition of like, where do I draw that line? Where do you be the bad guy, be the good guy, or be Landon? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's because it's such. I want to keep those kind of things, hollow and respected, but at the same time, like when I leave wrestling, I don't want to have to be Lee Nitrous at a grocery market.
Right.
I don't want to have to be Lee Nitrous on like, if I'm like at a bar with my friends, right? If someone comes and goes, "You're Lee Nitrous," I have to be Lee Nitrous then. I have to immediately, oh, okay, here it is, you know. I have
Right.
to be the crazy, psychotic emo kid. And that's, and don't get me wrong, I love people coming up to me and saying that's you. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I also have to draw that line of, do they want to see that or do they want to see me as a real person? Like,
Right.
the coolest people I've ever met have been when, like, you're out and about and people come up to you and goes, "Oh, you're that guy. That's awesome. My kids love that." I'm like, "Heck yeah, dude. So cool to see. So great. Thank you so much." But, like, that's weird. Sorry, I'm kind of, like, train of thought kind of came to an end there. But, like, it's like, where do you be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where as a person do you have to live in that? Because, like, especially, like, after, like, a cage match, after you're beaten and bloody, I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to go back
Right.
out there and have to say anything to anyone. I want to pack my bag, leave out the back door, not talk to anyone. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. Like,
It's
yeah, like you said, keep that world, that illusion rolling. Like, and the other thing is like every movie there has or show or anything there has to be a bad guy. Like
yeah.
someone has to play them, and you hear that all the time of like bad guys in like Game of Thrones or whatever, and they're being interviewed. They're like, "I'll be walking down the street, and people are like, I fucking hate you," because they see them as that bad guy in that movie, so they just like, you know,
It's the first impressions. You know what I mean? Like, if I see someone I don't know and they're a jerk, I'm gonna think they're a jerk no matter what they do. They could be the nicest human having the worst day, but in my head, that first impression's gonna be the
yeah,
first thing I think of like, oh, they suck.
yeah, and then it's just stuck there. You're like, "Yep,
Yeah,
I
it's
got
like,
my opinion."
and it's so hard to break that. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
so hard to break that because, like, you meet so many people, and it's the hardest thing in the world to be like, don't judge them. Don't, like, because, like, as wrestling, like, you know of people, like, it's an online, videos, YouTube, of wrestlers, and some
Mm-hmm.
people aren't known to be good guys in real life. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's so hard to walk up and just try to have a blank slate, like, "Oh, hey, thanks so much. My name's Landon. It's so nice to meet you." You have to not have that because, like, that's setting you up for
Right.
failure. Because if, like, it's connections, you know what I mean? Like, if you know someone, people know everyone in the wrestling world. Everyone knows
Right.
everyone. So who
Mm-hmm.
knows who that new guy who accidentally brushed up against you or, like, shouldered you on accident? Who knows who they know? You know what I mean? So, like, be a good person, man. Like,
Right. It's
and
just
sorry, that's kind
common
of,
sense.
yeah. It's like, it's hard to be like, I know things are like, especially in wrestling, it's high tension sometimes because you have to sometimes trust a complete stranger with your body. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if they just decide to drop you on your head, that's what happens. And it's hard because you have to go in there with an open mind of like, no, you got to trust them. You got to be, relaxed. You got to trust this complete stranger with my well-being and my career.
Right.
Um, sorry, my mind kind of went on a huge rant there for a second.
Dude, it's all good, man. Listen, I gotta ask because we're dipping around the subject a little bit, and it's probably one of the biggest, most said things about wrestling, and I want to get your thoughts on it.
Okay.
Is wrestling fake, bro? How do you reply to when people are like, "Wrestling's fake"?
Oh,
Like,
man. Check that off in the interview. Here we
check
go.
that.
Okay, let's put it this way, okay? If you're tripped and fall on the ground, does that hurt?
Yes.
Yes. If someone comes up and hits you, does that hurt?
Yes.
Yeah. If someone comes up to you with a chair and smacks you in the back, that hurts.
You're right.
I don't like the word fake. I've never liked the word fake. Is it choreographed? Yes. Do we know what we're doing when we go in there? Sometimes. Like, I know most of the time we know who's gonna win, right?
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we haven't spent hours upon years upon months upon everything building up what we do. Um, if if I'm falling on the ground, right? Like, if I just take a clothesline, that's all contact, man. That's still hits. You still hit the ground, you get back up and you keep going. Wrestling is predetermined. I've never considered it fake because it hurts. Like,
Right.
I've gone home from trainings, from shows. Like, after the cage show, I came home and showered, and so much blood washed off me, I thought I reopened the cut. Like,
Dude,
because
damn.
it's hurts, man. You bruise, you swell. There's basically, we go into this knowing that eventually we will be injured. There is no around that. You can train for
Right.
your whole life, be the most amazing basics guy in the world. You have everything down. You did everything right. Accidents will always happen. I go in. I've been really lucky. I think I got concussed once, but like I'm going there knowing one day my ankle may break, my arm may give out, my leg may just tear off its own bone.
Right.
We know, and people come and just like, it's fake. I'm like, you can think that. That's fine. Like people like to think like it's like. Let's put it this way: you've seen the magicians, right?
Right.
Is magic fake? No. It's an
Right.
illusion. There's processes, there's tricks to the trade. There's a whole training thing they did to get this. It's not fake. It's a
An
passion
illusion.
project. It's illusion. It's literally hours upon years of training and practicing and presentation. It's not fake. It's an art form.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I love that answer. And you know, just because you were saying earlier, it's how we kind of, you know, like the real world and things like that. Like you want to give off, you know, I mean, because it's like just any movie ever. Like it's like if someone saw the behind the scenes, like there's dozens and dozens of people behind these cameras and these lights and these green screens or whatever, and then there's people like an Endgame was all shot on with so many green screens, you know, like so like it's totally fake,
It's
but
fake.
you know,
Like
but you
your
build that
favorite,
illusion.
your favorite movie, your favorite everything, your favorite TV show, computer game, everything. That's all fake.
Yeah.
Like video game, it's just ones and zeros. That's not real. Like it's literally just practice and perfection and presentation.
Right. It's like a show, dude. Like you
It's
build a show.
it's exactly that. It's the whole point of wrestling has been big for me. Has always stood out with me. Is professional wrestlers' job in the easiest quotes I can think of. You need to make them forget they're watching a fake fight.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make them forget they're watching, a performance. Because when people are in there and you're going hard and you stand up and just start wailing, right? You just start going and going. People get hyped. People forget that they're just watching the old wrestling show. You know what I mean? They
Right.
get into it. They're like, because like you go out there and say I'm a bad guy, right? If I tune out and I pull a guy out and I just point at that guy, I'm like, you're a complete waste of space. You shouldn't be here. What are you doing? You're a grown man.
Right.
And I turn around and I start wailing on his favorite wrestler, right? That guy starts cheering for this wrestler. That wrestler starts coming back up. The wrestler gets up. He starts hitting. He's fighting. He goes, hits ropes. I knock him down. You got that little bit of a hope. Got that little bit of like, he's going to do it. He's going to win. And he's back down.
Damn.
Start doing it again. It's an art form, man. We know how to work this crowd. We know how to make this crowd forget because you build their hopes up. And then by the time that good guy at the end, that good guy comes back and he starts doing it. He starts doing it. And he starts coming back. He hits the ropes. This time he hits it. The guy gets up. He hits him with another clothesline. You're hyped. Your guy is winning.
Right.
Your hero is coming back. You put your faith in this man, and he's giving it back.
Hell yeah, dude.
Isn't that beautiful? Like, sorry,
Yeah,
I'm a little hyped. It's a beautiful thing as wrestling, man. It's people give it like the reputation of like the old, hick town. We're gonna go watch the grappling. You know what I mean?
Right.
Wrestling has that reputation, but think about it as like a theater show. What happens if someone goes offline or off script or someone gets hurt? What do?
You react to it.
You react. You think. You do things. That's what wrestling's all about, man. It's reactive. If someone gets hurt in the ring while I'm doing stuff, that match is out the window. We can't keep going, right? So what do? I react. I turn to the audience. I'm still the bad guy. I can't stop being the bad guy. Then it's dead. The illusion's dead, right?
Right.
It's all about that performance, man. It's about making these people forget. And if people don't know, they'll never know. It's like theater. If you mess up your lines or mess up a song, but you keep going, no one knows.
Mm-hmm.
It's that performance art side of it. Of you keep going, man. Like show must go on. Same thing.
Right.
Theater is wrestling. To me has always been like full contact theater. You have this thing, you learn like different fighting techniques and stuff like that, and it's just theater from then. You know your techniques, you know your moves. Now add sprinkle theater in, and it's that.
Boom. Yeah.
People think it's like just so mon pop, like two men are gonna hug, and I'm like, I think I've ever hugged someone in the ring. Yeah, I can honestly be like, I think I've been thrown a couple times, but like I've never been like hugged or like held. I'm like, oh, nah,
Right.
man. There's techniques to it. You know, you learn. Like people will spend years crafting this to make it perfect.
Right. So like with your characters and stuff, do you guys like I don't know how they do in WWE like the full out, but like with you guys, do you guys help kind of build your characters or no, I know you build your characters, but do you guys help like how you integrate the story together or do you guys like how does that kind of work
Absolutely.
out?
Like a lot of what makes wrestling appealing is the storylines, right?
Mhm.
So let's say if I'm going up against like Bobby, for instance, why did that work? Why did people want that? It's because it's personal. It's two Pocatello boys, and one guy couldn't handle the pressure of not being the number one Pocatello guy.
Mhm.
Everyone knows what it's like to be number two. No one wants to be number two because you're so
Right.
close, and you're so close to wanting and being number one. That's what everyone wants. That worked. It's the emo kid who grew up and was hated. His parents didn't want him. He was pushed away from anything he wanted. He was an outcast. And he
Right.
sees a star football player, the guy who had everything he ever wanted, loving, support, and told he can do this. You're going to be the guy. And he saw that guy on the top, and he said, I'm going to push him over. I'm going to knock down his pedestal. He did.
Right.
And people hated that because they're all-star football guy. Say an emo kid went up to a football player on the freaking while like he was standing on the side and just straight up stabbed him. People would go berserk.
Yeah,
You're
facts.
integrating these two separate worlds and telling a story of like hate and passion and personal conflict. It's that storyline that gets people going because you follow this. Like wrestling is like a movie that never ends.
Right.
Because once that story's over, you move on to the next one. Once I beat Bobby, I went on to a guy who Bobby attacked earlier, who knocked out his teeth, right?
Right.
And he was an announcer now because he'd been retired because he knocked out his own teeth and he wasn't cleared for competition, right?
Right.
So Lee Nitrous moved on, and his father figure, whose name is Levi Lee, was the announcer for UCW, right? And so
Right.
Lee Nitrous would constantly poke fun at his father because he abandoned him, right? And
Right.
he'd constantly do everything he could to make his dad's life hell. He interrupted him during announcing for the crowd saying, welcome to UC. He'd go out and interrupt him. He'd go out and make his life's dad hard. So when Levi told him, when Levi set up a match for Lee Nitrous lost that match because of his fault. Because he had him attacked match. He blamed his partner, and he blamed his dad because his partner had lost the match when Lee Nitrous lost the match, right?
Right.
So he attacked his father because his dad said, maybe you're just not good enough. Maybe you need to be real. So he attacked his father. He hit him in the head. He set him up for his big move, right?
Right.
So the announcing partner, who was on injury, came out and defended his partner in commentary. Boom, there's the moment. There's the next thing. There's the next story. Here's your new hero. Commentator who was injured comes back to fight the new bad guy. It's a movie that never ends, man. There's a never ending. There's always stories. There's always more.
Right. There's always more to be added.
It's your character never really ends. That's what's beautiful about wrestling. Your character grows up, evolves, changes, but the movie never really ends for your character. You keep going. Lee Nitrous started off as a kid who wanted to be the good guy and was going to cheer for the crowd. He became an emo. That emo was psycho. That emo became obsessive. And now, who knows what's coming next?
Right, nice.
It's coming up, right? But what's going to happen next? Because now he's a good guy. He was a bad guy for so long, but now he's found his redemption. Where's he going to go? How's he going to change?
Right.
Sorry, that was kind of long, drawn out a little bit.
Yeah, no, dude, I love that. Adding those storylines, kind of closing it all out. I love all of that. But like with wrestling, and putting in, it sounds like you put in tons of time and hours. With these, like, is the shows, the income from the shows, does it help build the venue? Do you guys get paid at all? You know?
That depends. Venue, we are actually moving venues right now, and we were about to get a new place when Corona hit. So we're kind of without a place right now, so that's kind of where we're sitting. Depends on the promotions. I'm trained at a school, so I'm trained there, so that's my school, so I don't get paid because it's my school. You know what I mean? You don't play sports in school and get paid for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But when I travel out of town, when I go to Vegas or Washington or places where I wrestle, I get paid for those experiences because
Oh,
I'm taking my
nice.
time to go do that. You know what I mean?
So is it like all characters are somehow in the same realm, right? Like, could you like somehow get involved with WWE, like the next WWE match against someone or something? Like,
Um, so that's more of a business side of things. You know what I mean?
right,
Theoretically, all wrestlers do exist in that same universe. Because I've wrestled, Shannon Moore, who was a part of WWE in the early 2000s. So yeah, I've wrestled a guy who was in WWE. There's a Cheeseburger who's part of Ring of Honor. He's part of the Ring of Honor lore. So canonically, if you want to do storyline, all wrestlers exist in the plain kind of reality. We're all wrestlers. We all, could be in any wrestling ring. But then there's the business aspect of things of like WWE, you need contracts and, you need to tryouts and auditions and, you need to get in and get on that payroll before you could show up there. But like on the independent circuit, which is, where I am, the indies, you can go anywhere, man. Like I could go to Washington one week, next week be in Las Vegas. Like I could be a good guy here, bad guy there. It's like just a complete like plethora of anywhere. You know what I mean?
right.
Like it's the business side of wrestling's weird because it's still like a wrestling show, but like it's so you gotta play politics almost sometimes.
Right.
Like there are owners people don't like. That's a common thing. No one likes everyone. Like no one likes a boss. But like you go to the promotion, you shake their hand, like thank you so much for booking me. Thank you so much. But like it's weird politics. you don't talk bad on someone because you still want to wrestle. You want to be a wrestler, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every person in the world has capabilities of being a D-bag sometimes, but you gotta look past it because you love wrestling. You want to wrestle, and people suck. But you want to be a wrestler? Yeah, then just ignore it. People suck.
Yeah, people suck. That's big facts, dude. That's big facts. So like, if you like, I get like going to Washington, like that's just awesome of itself. But if you did want to get a WWE, like, is it more like sports where you get scouted, or do they have auditions more like Broadway where you go and audition and get accepted for or something? Like,
yes, both. There are talent agents who kind of watch and look for people who are up and coming. But every yearly WWE has auditions in different places around the countries in different countries. Or like you can go and if you really want to try and show that you deserve there and like stand out, they can pick you up. Like there's no guarantee of anything. Like I could go to the auditions and it's mostly physical. And then, I've never done an audition. So again, this is all just what I've heard from people. This isn't, facts and statements and anything that coming from me because I haven't done a WWE audition. This is I did audition for a tryout, depending what word you want to use, for Impact Wrestling in Vegas once. Basically, what they do is they kind of, again, this isn't what WWE does, this is what Impact does, which was a competition for WWE. So if this is what they did, this is what I'd assume, something like that.
Right.
We sign in, we pay the fee for tryouts. They randomly select you with someone else who is there. You do a wrestling match. Then from there you
right
go
on
into
the spot.
Well, they give you time, they give you a time between, and they go, hey, everyone, you're done with your planning a match. And then they start just doing the matches, and they record that. Then once you do that, you go right back to the opening area where they have interviews, and they have an interview immediately, like, hey, you in character, go. And so you do a promo as a character for about a minute. You have a minute to, get your point across. And then what they do is they go out and then around to the back, and you had an on-the-spot interview with the personality of for if you're as you break the character, you talk as you to see if you're a good match as a person, like an actual personality person. It's like, okay, so would you be willing to travel if we hired you? Absolutely. What made you want to be a wrestler? And just share that story, kind of thing.
Right.
And it's WWE, from what I can tell from the videos and everything, it's a lot more physical. They have you work out and run and do athletic things before you'll ever get in the ring.
Damn, dude.
So it's intense, man. It's hard intense to be a wrestler. I grew up as not an athletic kid, man. I never did anything. I did theater shows and robotics and played Yu-Gi-Oh! I was never athletic. So getting into it now, we're like, hey, you need to fix your diet, you need to look good, because I wear the underwear trunks kind of thing, the Speedo almost thing.
Right.
You need to look good, you need to eat good, you need to work out hard, you need to make sure all your moves right, you need to make sure you can still do promos, so you need to be able to talk as well, you need to make sure your character's getting developed, it's a lot. It's so much going into, 10 minutes maybe for 1 month show.
Dude, that's just crazy.
It's a lot of effort and try and work, and but if you want to be a wrestler, it's worth it, man. Like, I love
Yeah.
wrestling more than anything. Like, I could not give this stuff for life of me. Like I said, like when I bled, right? My
Hmm.
mom was there.
Oh no.
She saw her son literally like a fountain going down his face and onto his chest and everything. I didn't stop the show. I didn't go check on her. I didn't stop to even look. It's go time. This is what I
Right.
love. And I'm not going to rob these people. If I can give these people the best show in the world, who am I to not give that to them?
Mm-hmm.
So you keep going. Yeah, when it was over, I cleaned myself up. We super glued the cut, which is kind of still there. Yeah, you can see that. But
Damn.
I cleaned myself up. I went and checked my mom. But like, it's
You're in
wrestling.
character, man. Like,
It doesn't stop, man. I saw my mom in distress for like she literally like was up and leaving as I stood up. Like basically what happened. Like so, I was cut right,
mm-hmm.
and Bravo put me up for like a power bomb, which is you lift, put him between your legs, and you lift up and you toss him right. I
Right.
stood up and put him up, and he hit some chairs right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I stood up, I whipped my hair out of my face, and I just guttural screamed. Pure adrenaline, blood pouring. I just screamed at this audience. And everyone standing there, step back. They're like, okay, dude.
What
And
the hell?
I saw my mom walk away to the opening area where like the ring isn't, right? And I
Right.
looked over at my family, and I saw my dad and my brothers, my cousin sit there, and my dad just gave me and that was,
Right. That
like
moment.
that moment of just, this is my son, go. You know what I mean? Like this is my
Right.
kid. Like it was pride, and I don't even know. I don't even talk to my dad about it, but like that moment meant so much to me as a human being. Like that, go get him. Go. Sorry.
Right.
It was the moment of my life of just um realizing at that moment your dad, your father, a person you idolized your whole life, gave you a go get him, full faith. I believe in
Right.
you. And that was just, sorry, I don't mean to get emotional on a podcast.
That moment, though, man.
The moment of pure faith in me, that meant more to
Right.
me than anything of my father, my dad, with pure, there was no doubt in his mind at the moment.
Right.
It's one of those things, man, like, sorry, am I getting too real?
No, dude, go ahead. You're totally fine, man.
Growing up, I felt like a failure and imperfect a lot of the time growing up. I didn't have a lot of faith in me. I had depression. I didn't feel like I could do anything right. I
Right.
felt like all my accomplishments were overshadowed by insecurities. You know what I mean? I was never gonna be good enough
Right.
no matter what I did. I didn't like sports because my older brother played 3 sports a year, state football, lettered, all 3, baseball, football, basketball, all year round. Amazing athlete to his credit. An amazing talent, one of a kind generation. You know what I mean? An amazing
Right.
amazing athlete. I didn't feel like I could do that.
Right.
I didn't even want to try sports because I'm like, I don't want to live in that shadow.
Right.
So I did theater. That was okay. I did all right. I wasn't bad by any means. I did some good shows. I did some good parts. I still never got that. I didn't feel good about it. You know what I mean? I could have
Right.
had a standing. I did during Beauty and the Beast. I had standing ovations, and even if I got standing ovations every single night by everyone, I didn't feel that was enough. I didn't feel like I could. I didn't feel like I was a state player. I didn't feel like I was, one in a generation talent. You know what I mean?
Right.
So after I quit theater because of me just hating it, burnt out, hated everything at the time, and I started wrestling because basically I always said I wanted to be a wrestler, but I wasn't athletic. I didn't do anything. It was never going to happen. You know what I mean? It was never
Right.
going to happen. I'd never been to a gym in my life. I hated working out. I hate how it feels. And I tried doing the YouTube thing. You're around for that. I tried real hard to be a personality.
Oh, yeah.
That was so fake.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't that happy. I wasn't that happy guy who just laughed at things.
Right.
I hated myself, and it built up and just exploded, and then I just abandoned the channel eventually. You know what I mean? It wasn't real. But when I stepped in the ring and I literally told him, this is kind of leading into this, but my grandfather passed before I started wrestling. He never
Right.
got to see me be a wrestler. That man meant more to me than almost anything. He was a prime example of everything I wanted to be. He was hardworking. He worked until his body gave out with Parkinson's and everything. His body literally gave up before he passed. He couldn't do. He worked until he literally couldn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that man was an inspiration to me of just, you work and you play just as hard. You know what I mean? And he never saw the best of what I had. So when I decided I was just going to throw myself into wrestling, and when I started I was moving to Utah, I'm just going to throw myself into wrestling. I'm going to be a wrestler. There was a point where my grandfather had taken me to, he was at an old age at the point, and he was, at the end of his life. I would walk with him, go on walks around the block, or just kind of go for a walk, just kind of let him get outside, you know what I mean?
Right.
And there was this point where he was kind of out of it, and he tried to climb his neighbor's fence.
Oh, damn.
And I'm like, Grandpa, no, you don't need that. No, it's fine. We'll go around. There's literally like a foot between us and the opening. And he turns to me and goes, what are you, a quitter? And it was so funny at the time, but I remember now that when I was saying, I'm going to be a wrestler, I'm going to go to Utah, those words always ring in my mind. Those words stick with me so hard. Every night I'm in a position right in front of the curtain about to go out. I hear those words in my head. What are you, a quitter? And every single night in my head right before I go, I'm like, not anymore. Yeah. Never again. I threw myself into wrestling. I threw everything I had at it. I wouldn't give the 50% or the random, I'll give it a shot and kind of give it. No, if I fail, I'm going down in a ball of fury.
Right.
Because I'm not going to do the theater thing where I kind of tried at the end and kind of, gave a half-assed, or I kind of tried YouTube, kind of edited, didn't really give it my all or spend time on it. Like my personal life, my life is basically wrestling now. I study film. I work out. I work on character. I study how actors work characters. A lot of my life is literally this. That's why, having a personal life is so hard, because so much of my life is now wrestling. I do a lot of my life is based around getting back in the ring, doing better in the ring, being what I can to do best. And I'm so sorry. I've been talking for 10 minutes of just building to this. But my life has become wrestling because it finally gave me that. Mm-hmm. It gave me that's mine. In that ring, in front of those people, that's what felt real to me. That's what became that finally I was good enough. It gave me that moment in my life where I finally felt real. I finally felt like I wasn't a failure. I finally was a state player. I was everything that 11-year-old Landon wanted. I am beloved or hated. I am who I am, and there's no substitutes. No one in there could do what I do the way I do it.
Right.
No one in the entire world can be Lee Nitrous but me.
Yeah.
And no one in the world can take that away now, because it is on YouTube. It's forever. I'm on record. I have wrestled people who have done this their whole life, traveled nations, different countries, and they've told me I can do this. So who am I at this point to say I'm not gonna? Mm-hmm. It hurts. It sucks. Everything just burns sometimes. Sometimes your body doesn't want to do it. But who am I not to give that to the people? Who am I not to be that guy?
Right.
Sorry, now that I've given this emotional rah-rah speech.
Dude, you are 100% totally fine. And related to that, I just know there's so many people, so many stories out there that are so related that you live in this realm, or you kind of not told what to do, but you kind of just go with the flow and you never find it until it clicks. And I mean, I spent 10 years trying to be a dancer, which I loved. I loved being on stage.
We were amazing at, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. But you were there. That's the only reason I was in Footloose. They're like, you can't sing or act, but you can dance. You're in.
You can dance.
Yeah.
Mine was the opposite. You can kind of act, but you can't dance.
It all worked out. It worked out. But yeah, dude, it's just, when I flipped to film in that same moment when I, shot a wedding video, my very first one, and handed it to my cousin, and to see his eyes light up and wow, you captured our day. And to get those moments of that, what you're saying with your dad, how he looks at you, just that look that you see such just happiness of something you created. You created this character. I created this video, and you see that look and you're just like this. That's that fulfilling moment. You've seen it. That's what I never could get that on stage. People are like, oh, you're a great dancer. You can do a cool trick, blah blah blah. But they never like look at you like they.
There's never that
way,
awe.
like,
that
awe. Yeah, the awe moment.
That like there's. I gotta remember where it was. I remember it was my first cage match against Bobby, and it was a street fight. It was called the Pocatello Street Fight, and we had weapons inside the cage, right? And we could go outside the cage and fight. And I remember Bobby had got me in the ring, and he duct tape. He taped a cheese grater to my head. He hit the rope, jumped, and kicked the cheese grater on my head, right? So he drop kicked a cheese grater against my head, right?
Damn.
And I remember just, and I turned to the corner, I had my back to the audience. I was just sitting there, and the ref were checking on me, right? And I was letting it linger. But the crowd, that awe, that, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like that moment of just everyone on you, eyes on me, everyone's wondering what's happening. That's that moment. That's that awe. That's that grandiose moment that everyone looks for. That breathe. You know what I mean? Like, eyes are on you, and you have a moment to take a breath. Like, it's easy for those 5-second videos on YouTube to be like, oh, that happened, next one. Oh, man, he fell, next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you have the attention of people, and you have time to breathe in it, that's that, man. That's wrestling for me. It's that take a breath moment. Feel that. You have time to take this in. It's art, man. It's literally like, I'm passionate and I know but it's art. It's beautiful. Right. It's the Mona Lisa. It is freaking Leonardo da Vinci carving. It's statues. It's literally people stop and watch.
Yeah.
Stop and watch is the most beautiful thing. People who stop their day. You take time out of people's day and they watch in awe. Mm-hmm. It's that time, man.
I respect it, man. I love it so much. It's such a powerful moment. It really is. You know it? Mr. Landon, I asked you everything I had. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, man. Shoot. Basically, all I really want to get across is Imperfect is a great place to be because it gives you so much room for improvement. It gives you time. It lets you grow. I've always thought that being content is your worst enemy. Being content is easy. You go to your job. You eat your food. You go to bed. I'm fine with that. I love doing that. That's one of my easy things to do. Content is easy. Being content is so nice. But being more is so great. Being more is something you'll never, ever be able to forget.
Agreed.
Being imperfect is beautiful, and being from someone who has been depressed, who's been suicidal, someone who's been on that line of, do I matter? Mm-hmm. Yes. Anyone who's watching, sorry, people at home, people who watch this, being suicidal, being imperfect, being broken, feeling like you don't matter, that is a great stepping point because it gives you so much more, man. It gives you a place to be and a place to move forward. And I promise you, when you get past that, when those feelings do finally, when you find your purpose and you find your happiness, you're going to feel it so much more than you ever did before because you know the difference now. You know those hard times. You know what it's like to be sad.
Yeah.
Being imperfect is a beautiful thing. Just don't stay there.
Yeah. There you go. That's the thing. Always strive to be the best you, man. That's just big facts. Well, Landon, thank you so damn much for coming on the show. Thank you so much for sharing some stories and being so awesome and telling us about your bleeding face and all that shit.
I'll send you a picture if you want.
Dude, you're going to have to, man. I will. I'll use it for the thumbnail. Well, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's so great to catch up with you a little bit.
Yeah, it's always nice, man. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace out.